Welcome to NAGLREP Success, a podcast series featuring the talents of LGBT real estate agents and allies who inspire the LGBT community. I'm your host, David Cerroti. Today starts a new vision for NAGLREP Success. We're going to be here every month doing a live video interview. And our first guest in this new format is someone who has dominated NAGLREP's top LGBT plus agent list for the last 2 years, leading his EZ Referral Network with, get this, nearly $600 million in sales volume over the last 3 years. It is a thrill to welcome the one and only Mike Zinicola. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Hey, David, thrilled to be here today. Love talking about real estate in terms of NAGLREP, and I'm just happy to be here.
Well, this is pretty cool on Facebook Live. I know you and I both feel like we've hit the big time now. We're on this great platform. It's a lot of fun.
I'm glad I had younger people on my end setting it all up, to be quite honest.
I know, believe me. And you see the backdrop here, it's beautiful. We're really ready to go. Congratulations to our founder, Jeff Berger, for getting us to this point. Let's start with you kind of describing for us what the EZ Referral Network is. What is the team about?
Okay, so the EZ Referral Network, so the EZ actually stands for Erlanger and Zinicola. We're two guys who decided about in 2008 to put our efforts together, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But what we've grown to be is, as many people know, Keller Williams has an expansion program where we can go out and multiply our efforts by going into different cities. And so currently the EZ Referral Network is a 5-office real estate team. We're in 3 offices in the Cleveland area, 1 in Cincinnati, 1 in Columbus, and we're about to open an office in Philadelphia here in the next few months. So we're real excited about that. We have 125 agents in all the offices. And in the last 3 years, we did about 3,200 houses and $600 million, a little bit of $620 million in volume. And we built our team based on servant leadership. Greg and I believe that on our team, the agents come first. This isn't the 2 owners are the big kings of the team and everyone else works for them. It's just the opposite. You come to our team and Greg and I actually work for you. We're your vendor of team value services. And we think that's the best way to run a team. And so we're excited about where this is going.
And we're going to talk a lot about your philosophy and also tips for people as we go through the discussion so that they can understand if they're looking for a team, what they should be looking for, since you're one of the leaders in team building in the country. But I want to start with your background. It is filled with a variety of trials, which you'll hit on. It's not a pun, and tribulations, including we'll also get to being not a victim, and we'll talk about that, but being subject to one of the most vicious hate crimes that we've heard about. So tell me about Bowling Green University, Ohio State College of Law. That doesn't seem to be like the normal start to a real estate career.
No, it really doesn't. Well, I grew up in the city of Cleveland itself in a lower middle class neighborhood, and went to Bowling Green pretty much on national grants and got my degree in business and a degree in pre-law. It was always my objective, because I grew up in the city of Cleveland, that I was going to go to law school, come home, and get involved in politics. And luckily, during my second year in law school, I worked for my state representative at the State House. Just volunteer time. I just wanted to get to know how it all works. And you know how you never really want to know how sausages are made? Really, you never really want to know how laws are made at a state level. It was just so disappointing to me. And I kept thinking, I don't want to be a part of these people. I don't like their ethics. I didn't like anything about the experience. So now I'm sitting here 2 years into law school, and I'm thinking, well, now what am I going to do? Well, 2 things happened. I was still in the closet at the time, although many of my friends said it wasn't a very shut closet. I was still in the closet, and all of a sudden I met somebody, and that was enough to get me out of the closet. And in 1982, being out of the closet and running for offices really wasn't going to be, it was going to have too many challenges. So I just decided to practice law. And I was actually with that person for 7 years in my 20s. So I went and practiced law, and I just never was really happy with that. I was a sufficient attorney. And I would suggest that anybody listen to the podcast, if they think they're just sufficient at something, they should try something else. And the reason why I was a sufficient attorney is I was never passionate about it. However, I did find a little niche when I was practicing law. And I was the first attorney in Columbus, Ohio, to actually do what I call gay law. And what gay law is I did estate planning for couples. I actually had an arbitration panel because, there was no marriage in the 1980s. So there's also no divorces. So me and two gay law professors, we had an arbitration panel where we helped people split and liquidate their assets. I represented pretty much every drunk driver who got caught leaving the bars. And I represented a lot of drunk driving cases. And I also did happen to represent a lot of men who probably were not discreet in where they were having sex. And so they were having sex in public places, and I was the go-to attorney for that. And one of the things I thought was great about that was people could come to me with anything, and they could be comfortable telling me anything. And so I loved that aspect of it. I just, in general, don't have the personality to deal with law. I needed to do something more positive. And so I had a client who said, come down to Florida with me and be my partner. We'll do some strip center development, which we did. And we did a couple of them. But then the state of Florida announced that they were changing all their land impact fees. And so smaller guys like us were not going to be able to compete. So my parents were getting older. I come back to Cleveland. I worked for a real estate investment trust. I had my own small law office. And I then had a client who was renovating 20, 30 houses a year. And he needed a business partner. He was great at renovation, but he was not the business guy. So I went in with him, and I partnered up with him. And I was renovating homes in the inner city of Cleveland, which was actually a pretty positive thing for me. It was the city that I grew up in, and now I'm renovating homes. And over the 5-6 years we did that, we renovated over 500 homes. And so it was an exciting thing, because once I got there, we were really selling a lot more. But in the inner city, there were so many people cheating down payments, cheating job verifications, cheating on earnest money, cheating on appraisals. And literally the FBI came in, and I had like 7 main competitors who were doing this. And 6 of those companies went to jail because they were all cheating. And then we were the only ones that we got the green light from the FBI that we're doing this the right way. But even so, it sort of tarnished me on that. So one day I had met my partner, David, that I've been with for 22 years. And one day in 1999, I said, let's go over to my folks' house. I need to tell you all 3 something. And we went over there, and I said, I'm leaving the renovation business. I'm leaving the practice of law. I'm going to go be a realtor. And my mother and David were totally fine with that. My father thought I was the biggest idiot of all time because I was not going to use my law degree. But that's not true, because I've been able to, my law degree has come in handy so often in my business. So I started in real estate, and the first year I came with a business plan, and I talked to the manager of the office that I was in, and I brought my 10-point business plan with me to him. And normally realtors don't have a business plan when they start. And my business plan was how I was going to get business. That's what I thought you did. And so he was flabbergasted that I brought a plan, because normally he has to create the plan for the agents. And so from there I started. I became I set a record for first-year agents in my company. And from there, we just started to build our business. So
And then you
that's my
became
long discussion on how I got to being a realtor.
you also became the expert for divorce real estate.
Yes. So, I was an attorney. And for a while, and when I was practicing law in Columbus, I did a little bit of family relations law. And so I met with some divorce lawyers. And here's just a little tip. So in Cleveland, Ohio, there's this organization called the Center for Principled Family Advocacy. And it's an organization of attorneys, divorce attorneys, who are committed to not making mountains out of molehills. That when someone comes to them, they really want to do the best to get the deals closed as quick as possible, not to make $1 million in legal fees, but to do what's right for the client. And they had auxiliary members. And so I joined that organization and became known in the domestic relations community as a realtor who understands what's going on in their world. And I bet all around the country, if you call the local bar associations and ask for the family law division, they might have a similar organization that you could belong to. I actually have one attorney. She's retired now, but she's been retired for about 5 years. But during the first 13, 14 years of my practice, she gave me over 60 closings, just one attorney, 60 closings. So I could always count on 3 to 5 deals from her every single year, which was awesome.
And you've had a lot of chance encounters in your life. One of the first big ones, when you talked about the EZ, was a 29-year-old with the E walked into your office one day when you're on floor duty. What happened?
Right. So what happened was, actually, I wasn't on floor duty. I just so happened to be the only other person in the office at 9 o'clock at night. And there was a new agent. So in 2004, Greg changed. He went from corporate over to real estate as well. And he was there, and he had this client who was going to bring in real estate investors from the coast, bring them into the South and the Midwest to take all of their monies that they made in equity appreciation and put it into cash flow properties where you can make real cash flow, like Cleveland, Ohio. And he had been a realtor for about 37 seconds before he got this referral. And so he said, do you know anything about real estate investing and investment properties? And I said, well, yeah, I used to work for a real estate investment trust and everything. And well, anyway, we talked to the manager. We agreed to work together. And over the next 2.5 years, we sold $65 million of apartment buildings to these clients. And so what we discovered during that process is that we really worked well together, and we had the similar work ethic, and we came to the table with different strengths. My strengths are more in the practice of real estate and the purchasing and selling of real estate. Greg's strengths are more in the technology. He was a lot younger than me, 17 years younger than me, in technology and marketing. That's where that was his background. That's where he came from. And so as we were doing this, we were excited about that. Without going into a lot of detail, our regional brokerage did something to the two of us, totally separate. They did the same thing to both of us that really turned us off from that organization. And so as it turns out, we started talking to a Keller Williams agent, and Greg came into my office one day and said, I've been looking this over and I don't know why we shouldn't do this. So we both went over to Keller Williams on the same day. And part of that agreement was they were going to take us to Keller Williams Family Reunion, or the national convention. And at that point, we were just two individual teams. And we were going there as the Erlanger team and the Zinicola team. And then something happened there that changed our lives.
And let's hold it there. We'll come back and we'll find out about your second great chance encounter that changed your life and also Greg's. But first, let's talk about NAGLREP's third annual LGBT Housing Policy Summit. It will be held on April 28th and 29th at the Human Rights Campaign, again in their Equality Center in Washington. We'll be joined by U.S. Congressman Alan Lowenthal, who is a staunch LGBT ally. He is known as the first member of Congress to ever proudly fly the rainbow flag outside of his Capitol Hill office. He will deliver the keynote address and be joined by some of the leaders of the top real estate brands in the industry, along with those from NAR and the LGBT community, the likes of HRC, NGLCC, and NAGLREP's newest partner, PFLAG. One of the things we'll be obviously talking about is the State of the Equality Act, and also how all of us at NAGLREP can do our part to improve LGBT home ownership rates from their extremely low 49% levels. So if you're interested in registering, go to naglrep.com. So, Michael, we will come back to that that encounter at the Keller Williams family reunion. But I know you have experienced discrimination firsthand, and not too many of us, though, can tell the story of a beard meeting discrimination. So I'll let you tell us what happened to you.
Okay, I want to tell this story because I want to make a point at the end of it. I'm not telling the story just to get sympathy or people saying they're sorry for me, because there's no need for it. But about 15 years ago, my partner and I had been together for about 6 years, and we decided to take a break, and we separated for a few months. And I was going along, and I met this other person, and I was inviting him to my home for a drink, and he asked if a friend could come, and I said sure. And we got to the home, and something didn't seem right, but it was already sort of too late. And this is going to sound graphic, but this is what happened. They were actually part of a gang. They cleaned up really well, but they were actually part of a gang, and their mission was to hurt a gay guy. That was what the gang was out to do. Everyone had to hurt a gay guy, which is wildly crazy, I understand. And they actually took a box cutter and they slit my throat. And so what I had to do, and they stole a couple of things, and they said a couple of gay slurs on the way out the door, and sort of left me for dead. Problem was, I didn't die. What I did was I put my neck back together and make sure I held it. I dialed 911. The paramedics came, and the paramedics at Rocky River saved my life. And then I called the police. And here's the funny thing, looking back on it. I lived in a high-rise condominium, and there was no exit on the first floor. The main exit was on the second floor, and there was another exit on the terrace level. And the guys couldn't get out of my condo complex. They didn't know where to go. So by the time the police got there, they had just figured out how to get out, and they were walking with some of my things. And so they were immediately caught. And I'm sure they thought at that point I was some guy in the suburbs who wasn't going to press charges. And that was an inaccurate assumption. So anyway, I was rushed to the hospital. There was an emergency surgery. And the next morning I was sitting in my bed, and this is what I said. I said, you know what? If I wallow in this, then those guys get exactly what they want. They wanted to hurt a gay guy. And obviously I'm saying gay guy, that's not the term they were using. They wanted to hurt a gay guy. And if I give into this, they win. They win more. And so my goal from sitting in that bed is, how quick can I get back to work and not talk about this again? And I was back to work in 1 week. And that gave me a lot of strength to know that I could just get through this and not wallow in it. I did not want to become a victim. And so I obviously prosecuted, and the two of them were found guilty. And then as is in most criminal cases, there's something called a victim statement. And I got to speak. And this is what I said. I said, Your Honor, before I speak, I need to have you direct the court reporter to change the name of my statement, because you have it as a victim statement, and I'm not a victim. I'm the recipient of the crime. So you can call it the statement from the recipient of the crime. Because to suggest I'm a victim suggests that they took something from me. And I'm not allowing that to happen. And I'm asking the court if I can address them. And I looked at them and I said, what do you say about people who left somebody for dead for sport? I mean, the fact that I'm not standing here in this courtroom and crying doesn't mean they shouldn't get the maximum penalty. They're still going to they get 8 years. They're not going to, they're getting 8 years as their penalty, regardless if I'm crying and cowering in the corner. And so then I looked at them and I said, this is what I want you to know. That while you're sitting in jail for 8 years, I will, every February, I have a group of friends and we rent a mansion villa in the Caribbean. So you should know from 10 days out of every February, I am going to be in the Caribbean laying in the sun. We have a spa day where we bring the spa in, we go sailing. So while you sit in jail, I'm going to do that. And you should also know that I'll probably be going to Europe 4 times to visit cities to vacation. And here's something you should also know. 17 realtors volunteered to do my business while I was gone for free. I am surrounded by love. And I had this opportunity for people to show how much they love me. This was this amazing opportunity for me. So I'm not upset about this. You need to go to jail, but I'm not upset. And here's the other thing. And I told the judge this. I said, Your Honor, I now have to wear a beard for the rest of my life because the scar goes from my ear to the middle of my chin. I look better in a beard. And I told them that. And the point of this, the point of the whole thing was they thought because their lives were so superior, because they were different than me, that they could take my life. And I wanted to make sure they knew they were idiots, for one, but I wanted to make sure they took nothing from me. I am not a victim. And so the point of me telling this story is I hear so many people who don't have that story, but they wallow in their victimhood. And what happens is when you do that, you don't do something productive. Life isn't fair. It wasn't fair what happened. But so what? My options were to sit around and not do anything, or to get back to work in a week and start to do something productive. And so my story is a story of being productive, about allowing life to occur and not letting it ruin you and move forward. So I'm not the guy to talk to about being a victim because I tell people, I understand and I'm sorry it happened. What are you doing tomorrow to get out of your victimization?
I thank you on behalf of all of us for sharing that. I know it wasn't easy. It's not often that you tell that story, but thank you. Let's talk about another much more positive encounter.
That's what happened.
Keller Williams, family reunion. You and Greg are there. All of a sudden, magic happens.
So here's what happened. So we were obviously friends. We obviously knew we could work well together. We went down there at separate teams. And then there was a gentleman who sold over $150 million the year before. And this is what he said. He said, you need to hire or partner up with your weakness. He said, if you're the guy who's the technology and the marketing guy, get together with the guy who's a good real estate practitioner. If you're the real estate practitioner, acknowledge that you need marketing and technology. Get together. And if you get together, you'll have an unfair advantage. Those sentences changed my life because we walked out of that seminar, we walked back to the hotel, and we said, we're each other's, we're the yin and the yang here. You are so good at everything that I'm not, and I am good at things that you could get good at, but let me do that. Let me do the real estate practice. And so we went and back to the hotel and we talked for 5 hours. And let me just tell you, if you're going to build a team, the first thing you need to do is have a value proposition to your client that differentiates you and your team to any other realtor. Because without that differentiation to your client, you have nothing. Because that's going to be one of the value propositions you give to your agents, that you have that value proposition built in. And so we did that. Then we talked about how we would structure the team. And then at the end, we were delirious. It was 5 hours in. And I said, okay, we need a name. And I said, what about the EZ sales team? And I was like, that is awful. But he's the marketing guy. And he said, no, it's brilliant because it's easy. It's a little kitschy. People will remember it. That's it. So that's how we became the EZ sales team. Now, when we started to expand, the state of Ohio said our expansion offices had to have different names than our office in Cleveland. And so we weren't allowed to be EZ Sales Team Cleveland, EZ Sales Team Columbus. So we had to give them different names. And then we said, but all of them are powered by the EZ Referral Network. And so that's where the EZ Referral Network comes from.
Now, earlier today, I'm pretty sure I heard you agree that you are going to speak again at the NAGLREP conference. So let's talk about that. Are you?
I'm absolutely going to speak at the conference. Yes.
There we go. So the NAGLREP conference, the 7th annual version, will be October 6th through the 8th, 2020. I know that's hard for all of us to get used to. It'll be in Palm Springs. And as it gets colder for most of the nation, I think we can all look forward to the beautiful weather in Palm Springs with so many great speakers, so much great networking. And really, it is one of the top real estate industry events. So again, go to naglrep.com. You can register now and get the early bird sales price and save yourself some money along the way.
Can I just say what I'm going to speak on?
What are you going to speak on?
I'm going to speak on something that I think is the most important thing for realtors to do right now. So there's a difference between a transactional realtor and a relationship realtor. A relationship realtor builds that relationship, has a client for life, is worried about that, reaches out to them, wishes their kids happy birthday, etc. When you're a forever client, as Katrina Loken says. A transactional realtor is just a numbers guy. He calls 50 people. He's going to get 6 appointments. He's going to list one of those houses. He's going to list it. He's going to move on to the next, and he's always looking for the new clients. Every realtor in America needs to start becoming a relationship realtor, because transactional realtors are going to be competing with Zillow, and Zillow will win. If all you are is a transactional realtor, then the next time those people need to sell, you will not have the relationship for them to call you back. And you're not going to have the relationship for their children to call you back or their friends to call you back. And you're just like Zillow, but Zillow's going to win that. So if every agent in America became in relationship with each and every one of their clients, no one's going to Zillow for a random real estate appointment. And so it's very crucial that we do this. And I'm going to talk about different ways you can do that and what you should be doing. So
I think
to me, that's the most important thing in all of real estate.
You're the first speaker to have their topic already 10 months out. So,
well, I already told Jeff that. I told him like 10 minutes ago. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. So hopefully Jeff Berger agrees, but you will be there and we can't wait to see you then.
And even if I don't get to speak on that, I still believe what I just said.
Yes. Let's talk about teams. They continue to be all the rage. And I know for many agents, they're trying to determine, should they be on a team and what should they look for in a team? Nobody better than to take us through the close of today's session by talking about that.
Okay, so to me, teams are the now and the future. And why that is, and I know there's a lot of individual agents, and I appreciate everything you do and how hard you work. But as things get more and more competitive, you're going to have to bring different things to the table. And I am not as good as my team is in providing marketing for my listings. My team, a lot of people on my team aren't as good as I am regarding the actual practice of real estate. And so teams actually divide and conquer by doing what they do best. And so I believe teams are not only here to stay, but they will become more and more prevalent in the industry. And I know if you're an individual agent, you have a totally different spin on this, that, yeah, but when they get me, they get all of me. And I understand. And so there, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being an individual agent. I just think teams are important. So here's the question. If you're not building a team yourself, can a team elevate your business? And in my opinion, if you're on the right team, it will. So if you're on a team and all you're doing is taking their leads and running out and opening doors, I know a lot of my friends are going to be upset. I don't know if that's the right team for everybody. It may be the right team for some people who have no ability to get their own business. And so if you're doing that, you should expect lower commission splits, because you're just being the person that gets assigned things. So for people who can't develop their own business, obviously those type of teams really work well, because there's people for each type of team. But if you're a decent realtor and you're saying, why would I join a team? You shouldn't join every team. You should look for a team that is dedicated to building your business. It's not about the team leader, it's about you and your business. Each individual agent is their own business. And so this is what I say when someone comes to my team. The EZ Referral Network is a platform in which individual agents can build their individual businesses as big as they want, because the platform is so sturdy. And if you come to my team and you're at level X, I need to get you to level Y and level Z, and we need to have a plan for that. And if your team is a one size fits all, that may not work for you. But if your team is a team that looks at each individual realtor and say, okay, what do you need? So for instance, I have a member of my team who handles a lot of professional sports players. I also have agents who haven't been licensed for more than 2 months. Those two people need different things. The new agent needs to learn how to do a comparable and figure out what a comparable is and how to fill out paperwork. My agent who does a lot of the sports people, she needs all the pizzazz that the team has to offer, all the marketing, because she's good building the relationships, but needs the administrative help. And so if I was looking for a team, I would want to know what's your administrative help that you're offering me, what you're coaching for me at any level, and how you're going to get me to the next level, what's your marketing. And then if those three things are good, I would say, so do you provide leads? Because what we say on our team is leads are an appetizer. They're not your full meal. And if you're looking for the full meal, I can direct you to a number of teams that will give you those at 30% commission splits, 40% commission splits. And so it's really important, if you're looking for a team, to look for a team that works for your business. And don't believe that if you're going to a team, it's no longer your business. It is. We're all independent contractors. So one team may say, I only have buyer's agents or listing specialists. Now those teams should be the ones that are giving you 90% of your leads. Then they should be able to call that. If they're not giving you those kind of leads, then I would say you want to be a full realtor. And you want to be able to do both, because you're going to get really frustrated the first time you have to give up a listing because you're a buyer's agent. And so there's so many different teams and there's so many different ways to present them. You just have to individually look at each one and what they have to offer. But so many teams have so many great things to offer.
How important is that fit, the culture, to joining a team?
Well, it depends on who you are. So for instance, let me give you an example of that. Culture is obviously important. Without that, it falls apart in general. But there's some agents on my team, literally, I haven't talked to in a long time, because they're taking advantage of the marketing and the administrative stuff, and they don't feel they need more coaching because we gave it to them in the beginning. And they sometimes participate and they sometimes don't. That's their choice. in most cases, there has to be a fit. You have to feel good about your team leaders. You have to feel good about the coaches, the admins, and there have to be a lot of things. And the team leaders, it's important for the team leaders to understand we have to build a culture.
I'm sorry, Michael. Is there a number that you look at for somebody who's interested in a team, that if the team will elevate me 20, 30, 50, 100% more in business, I should consider it?
Well, to me, so for instance, when you're on the team, obviously your splits are going to be lower than what you would be just as an individual agent in the brokerage. So you have to look at yourself and say, if I join this team, and I tell every recruit that I talk to, please make this analysis. When you're looking at splits, there's 3 things to look at in splits. One is, what is the split given the value proposition you're being offered? Secondly, what does the team pay for and do for you so that you don't have to do it, you can spend more time with your clients? And third, if I come to the EZ Referral Network, will I sell more houses? You know, realtors, you ask a realtor what he makes. Like, if you ask a teacher what she makes, she'll say $65,000. If you ask a doctor what he makes, $527,000 a year. If you ask a realtor what they make, oh, I have a 70-30 split. Well, that's not what you make. Because if you only do one house, that's not a lot of money. If you're doing a 65-35 split somewhere else, but you're doing twice the number of deals, you've made not twice the amount of money, but you're going to make 86% more money. And so it's all about, will I sell more houses if I join that team? And how is that? And ask your team leader, how are you going to get me to sell more houses? That's the most important thing. I mean, splits are important, and on my team, you actually can get to 100% each year. And the more you sell, the higher the split is, and you can get to 100%. That's how we do ours. That's not how every team does it. And every team should have a theory behind what their commission splits are, what they pay for, as it relates to the value proposition that they give you.
It's been so much fun with this whole discussion. Is we talk about lawyers and we joke about lawyers, that we never want to hang out with lawyers because that means we're in trouble. With you, it's far from that. You are incredibly welcoming in your storytelling and in teaching us things about the real estate business. And I know I can't wait to see you again, both in April at the Policy Summit and also at the NAGLREP Conference in Palm Springs in October. For those of you who are watching who are not already members of NAGLREP, please be aware NAGLREP has 2,600 members with 40 chapters around the nation. As one of the largest LGBT plus trade organizations in the nation, we would encourage you to visit naglrep.com and join and be part of just an incredibly great group. Mike, you're amazing. And
how about that? But
thank you for being our first live video podcast, which I guess it's no longer a podcast, I guess, if we're on Facebook Live. So thank you very much, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You are the absolute best. And until next time, this is NAGLREP Success. I'm David Cerroti.
Thanks.